right, guys. I'm not sure if you can hear me. If you can, I'm not really going to know very well until you guys respond right here, right there. I'm out here at let me get it right, the Southwest Louisiana Balloon Festival in Lake Charles, Louisiana. I'll try to grab my iPad here in a minute when I get through with everything and kind of pan around and show you guys everything going on. But I'm here at the landscape management tent. They were kind enough to let us kind of hang out here and use their place. This is a massive festival. I'll show you guys here in a minute, but it's huge. They're expecting 20, 30,000 people here this weekend. There are quite a few here right now. There are rides here for kids, carnival rides, a bunch of fun jumps. Tonight is I guess the religious night. There is no drinking, no alcohol being sold here, so I won't be drinking any beer here tonight, although I heard that there are some bootleggers that might have snuck some in, so I may be hunting the bootleggers down here in a little bit. I want to go over some stuff before I talk about more of the balloon festivities and stuff like that. Let me go over some things real quick. 6 Hour P365. First of all, can you guys hear me okay? I have a band playing over here about 150 yards, maybe 120 yards from me, and they're extremely loud, which they should be. It's a live band. I don't expect them to turn down for me, but I didn't know if you guys could hear me okay. That's why I got the headphone on with the mic, thinking that might help a little bit. Okay, yeah, good. You guys can hear it. Sounds good. Want to talk real quick. Okay, I don't know if you guys had a chance to see my 6 Hour P320 X compact review this week. Pretty cool little gun. I've carried it a little bit. I'm gonna probably carry it a little bit more after I carry the 6 Hour P365 XL, which is my next review. That's probably gonna hit tomorrow. I'm sure I'll be putting that out tomorrow. So yeah, that was actually a pretty cool little gun. I don't mind telling you, the P365 XL is actually pretty neat. I got one of the first ones that came out and banged my review out this week, and I'm trying to get all of my post-production done in the midst of all this that's going on right here. So hopefully I can have that video out most likely tomorrow evening or by Sunday, because it kind of has to go on the air on our Fox show on Sunday morning, so surely it'll be out by then. But a cool gun. I really enjoyed shooting the P365 XL. That was a fun one. I did find that with a little bit longer barrel on the front side of it, that it did make a difference. I probably have, looking at one of the comments here by Roger, how many rounds through it? Probably about 600 to 650. I don't remember how many boxes actually I shot, but I know there was about 12 boxes for sure. Possibly I started on a 13th box of 50 rounds, my Armscor ammunition. So yeah, very reliable. I did notice that if you remember the P365 that originally came out, it had all those issues with the primer drag, and where the primers were basically, if you looked at the gun, instead of it being a dot, it was more of a dash like that, where it was supposed to be a dot. So instead of being like this, it looked like this. And that's gone now. SIG has definitely fixed that. So the primer drag, and you could tell it was primer drag. I know that some of the Glock people talk about how theirs is looks similar to that. And in many cases, the Glock's firing pin is not a round or a pointed pin. It is more like a dash. That's not the case with the OP365, because you could see the dotted primer strike, and then you would see kind of a light drag off of it. So it wasn't just a consistent push like a Glock is. So anyway, I really do think SIG has certainly resolved any issues with their primer drag. I think it has a lot to do with their recoil spring. I think that's what did it, because I noticed the action is exactly the same on both guns as far as the slide. Even though the slide is a little bit longer, it, how can I explain this? It's got the same amount of travel. The slide just sticks out further than what it would normally would on the frame. So the travel on the slide between the frame and the slide fit is the exact same distance. So they worked with what they had, and also they have the different type of recoil spring and guide rod on there. It's a little bit different. So yeah, I made some differences on it, and I think they've made some drastic improvements. I gotta say, man, I think that 6-hour P365 XL, if you look at its size, even its length and its width, I still find that it's relatively easy to conceal. The standard magazine, the flush fit magazine that comes standard with it, is a 12-round magazine, whereas you can buy the extended magazine for like 45 bucks. It's very expensive. And you can get a 15-round capacity in it. So yeah, man, it's pretty cool. I gotta say, the thinness, the narrowness of the frame itself, and of course I couldn't bring guns out here, so that's why I don't have it with me. But the narrowness of the gun, to me, is the innovative nature of it. And I was really, really impressed with it, guys, I gotta tell you. Now, backing up real quick on the P320X Compact, the review that I just put out this week, I love that gun. It's big enough, it's wide enough, it fills out my hands perfectly. So that's really kind of my new favorite gun right now. Excuse me, whenever I'm wearing clothes that I can easily conceal a little bit bigger gun, I'll certainly be carrying the P320X Compact because I just like the way it feels. And round counts up there too. But whenever I'm wearing something that I need a little bit more concealment or less chance of printing, I'll no doubt be using a P365 XL because that thing, the narrowness of it and the fit of it is pretty amazing. So yeah, really impressed with both of those. No particular reason why I'm doing both of those 6 hours this week, just happen to be doing it. So yeah, this isn't SIG week or anything like that. And by the way, I think most of you guys know it, most of my guns, unless I say otherwise, I purchase them. And I purchase them for full price. I get them through Gator Guns in Sulphur, Louisiana, because they do take care of me on price. And there's a couple other gun companies, you know, I've had Action Arms has helped me out on some pricing sometimes, on some pistols also. So, you know, I have a lot of support from the local guys. So in many cases, I may not pay full price, but I'm still paying above what cost is. I'm not getting them for free. And again, I'm still using my money to buy them. There's some guys out there that might act like they're giving an unbiased review, but they were either paid or given those guns. And if I'm ever given a gun, I will tell you flat out that I'm given that gun. I know there's a lot of bad press going on right now about guys out there that you know, are lying about some of the things that they do and about the money they make and all that. Look, if I'm getting paid, I'm not ashamed of it. I gotta pay the bills. I gotta put food on the table. Heck, whenever I meet you guys on Friday nights at 7 o'clock, somebody's gotta buy the beer, right? So I'm not ashamed to say whenever I get paid. There's never been, I've never felt shame to get paid for doing something that's like a job. So, you know, I don't know why these guys are so guarded with that, and they want to make it sound like, no, you know, I don't get paid, and when in fact, in reality, they are. So it's a sad thing. There's a lot of fighting going on right now in the gun community. I see a lot of that right now, and I'm just trying to stay away from it. I did notice, I say stay away from it, trying not to take sides. I did notice on another note that Hank Strange and Forged from Freedom are having a little spat right now because it sounds like, let me go from each side of it because I've seen both sides of it right now. If I look at Forged from Freedom's side, well, let me do Hank first. On Hank Strange's side, Hank is saying that he has sold a bunch of, or Forged from Freedom has sold a bunch of t-shirts in his name, and Hank has promoted the sale of those t-shirts, and Hank was supposed to receive some money for the sale of those t-shirts, like a percentage of them or something like that. Hank says he's never received any money from them, never gotten any payment or anything like that. I think he showed some videos, stuff like that, some things that he said that this is proof that he has not received any payment from Forged from Freedom. I would say Freedom. Whereas Sam from Forged from Freedom did a follow-up video of his own saying that he had, I don't know if he had paid, no, and I don't want to get this wrong either. I think he's saying that he was sending Hank his money, and that Hank was making up things about him. So they're arguing right now. So I've reached out to at least Forge from Freedom right now through YouTube on one of Hank's videos. And what I want to do is I want to talk to both of those guys independently, get their side of the story, and pretty much report what each one of them is saying. And then basically report back and say, all right, guys, I'm not going to give my side or my take on it. And I might give my take a little bit, but I'm not trying to take sides. My thing is, I just want to get some of this crap. If there's a beef out there, I'd like for it to go away, because I think in many cases, we're definitely getting splintered right now in the gun community. I see it enough already, where the left, I believe, is purposely trying to splinter us so that they can break away at us a whole lot easier. I know that sounds kind of lame and kind of cliche, but it's true. I mean, we see so much of this where the gun community has a lot of this infighting, and meanwhile, while we're infighting about little petty, stupid things, the anti-gun movement is over there chipping away at us one bill at another. Speaking of that, I have one right here that if this gets any legs, I'm really worried about this. This is an Oregon bill. Now, I usually don't take things that happen in Oregon seriously, but I should, because Oregon is a state, even though I'll never ever live there and probably will never go there because I can't carry a gun there, it still matters, because they are trying to pass a law funded by Bloomberg. Everybody talks about how the NRA is always paying people, but clearly Michael Bloomberg is paying a lot of people out there, and he's funding this whole thing right now, Oregonians for Safe Gun Storage. It's a bill, ballot measure 2020-040, and it's pretty much a rehash of all the old things that we've seen in the past, where these guys are doing everything they can to chip away at our gun rights. So the newest thing that they're trying, and they've tried this a few other times, you guys have seen this, but they're trying to put these bills out there that are going to criminalize us who do not make our guns inside our own homes inoperable. They're wanting us to say that these guns should be in some cases disassembled, in some cases inoperable, no ammo in the gun or in the safe. The gun has to be in a safe, a locked safe to where nobody else can access it, a combination or an actual lock, and the gun safe cannot be entered in any kind of way. What this new Oregon law is trying to propose is, let me get to some of it. Let's see. Section 1B of this bill says the firearm is not secured if any other means of opening a lock or container is available to the person who stole the gun. So that means that you as a legal gun owner, you as the victim, you as the person whose home just got broken into, even if you had your gun in a gun safe, if that gun safe can be broken into, which every gun safe can be broken into, I'm sorry guys, every gun safe can be broken into, but if that gun safe is broken into, even though that thief broke in your home, broke in your safe, stole your property that you paid for and you purchased and you obtained legally, you will be held accountable for that theft, because that thief was able to steal your gun. Is that not an authoritarian move or not? How is the government, even if it's a state government, how is the government going to tell you, who are minding your own business, doing everything legal in your power, and you are even trying to follow the law, the unconstitutional law that the state of Oregon put down on you and forced on you, you were still trying to oblige by that law, but because a thief was a good enough thief and a good enough criminal to be able to bypass your system and break into that safe, whether it's with a blowtorch or he picked the lock, now it's your fault. You're going to go to jail and you're going to go to prison as a result of that. How in the world are we going to allow bills like this to take place? Do you know that this bill does not in any way put a stiffer penalty on the person who broke in your house and stole that gun? This bill is simply to punish you and to get you to where you're in trouble if somebody breaks in and steals your stuff. Again, no one else, the criminal has no stiffer penalties. There's nothing in the bill that even mentions the criminal other than the fact that somebody that might have broken into your home and stolen this gun. Now, what this is an attempt to do is, it's an attempt to scare, to intimidate you, and to shame you. They're trying to scare you as the legal gun owner and me into feeling like, man, I don't want to take a chance of going to prison because somebody breaks into my house and steals a gun. So guess what I'm going to do? I'm just not going to buy any guns. That's what they're trying to do. They're trying to scare you into thinking that it's not worth going to jail. So what you're going to do is you're going to opt just not to not have a gun, to not risk going to jail because somebody might have broken in and stolen your property. That's what the goal here is. They know that locking up honest, law-abiding citizens is going to backfire on them. They know that these bills like this are unconstitutional, and they know that you and I, eventually, if we have enough money, that we are going to win in court. But guess what? We have to pay attorneys $300, $400, $500 an hour to take this to court. They know that we either don't have the money, won't waste the money, or we will run out of money in court, and at that point, they will have intimidated us. So if they can get us to go broke by trying to fight this kind of stuff in court, and if they can scare us into not buying guns because we're afraid to have to go to court over this, that's what their ultimate goal is. Because they know this will never, even if, look, if it made it all the way to Supreme Court, which it never would, it would fail in the lower courts for sure. But if it made it to the Supreme Court, it would never pass. I memean, Heller has already, the Heller ruling several years back has already proven this. In fact, I wrote down some notes here on the Heller ruling that applies directly to this. Let me find it. Here it is. The requirement that any lawful firearm in the home be disassembled or bound by a trigger lock makes it impossible for citizens to use arms for the core lawful purpose of self-defense, and it is hence unconstitutional. That is from the Heller ruling back, I don't know, was it in the 90s, I believe? No, I'm sorry, shoot, that was 2008. That's a lot more recent than I thought. Let's see. Statute under the pretense of regulating amounts to a destruction of the right, or which requires arms to be so born as to render them wholly useless for the purpose of defense, is clearly unconstitutional. This was from the ruling of the Heller case, DC versus Heller, back in 2008 again. It's already been stated. So the laws that they're trying to pass in Oregon have already been debunked and shot down in the United States Supreme Court. So they know they can't win this. They know they are pushing forth an unconstitutional law. But what happens is these laws get passed by these crazy wacko liberal governments, and after that, then all of a sudden the shock value of it kind of goes away, so that whenever you hear it introduced at the federal level, it's not as shocking anymore. Like, to me, it's shocking because I live down in Louisiana where this would never pass right now. Not saying it couldn't pass in the future. But what happens is we get numb to this kind of stuff because we see it. So the next time we see it, it's not quite as shocking. So it fails and fails and fails time and time again, which can be brought up every single year within that same state. If this were to fail in Oregon, it can be brought back up again next year. So they reintroduce these bills every single year, and then other states that are around them and other liberal states start to enact these same bills and try to push them through also. So then we've heard about it 1,000 times, so that whenever some idiot in Congress, the United States Congress, tries to put forth the same bill, it doesn't seem so shocking to us. So we kind of look at it and go, you know what I mean? We act like it's not that big of a deal. Now, we don't, but a lot of people do. That's what they're trying to do, guys. Again, they know that they're unconstitutional. This Oregon bill, ballot measure 2020-040, is a direct conflict with what the DC versus Heller ruled back in 2008. Yet they're still pushing it. Now, do you think these people either don't know about the Heller, DC versus Heller, or do you think that they do know about it and they're trying to push it through? I suspect, honestly, guys, that some of them do know about it, because that's how dishonest a lot of these anti-gun people are. But also, you also realize how ignorant a lot of these anti-gun people are. So I do believe that there's a vast majority of them that actually don't know anything about DC versus Heller. So again, this is the kind of legislation that even if it were to pass at the state level, it will get tied up in the court system. Guess what else will get tied up in the court system? Your gun. If somebody breaks into my house and I live in Oregon, they steal my gun, let's say that I'm not a rich person. Let's say I have one gun. That person just stole my only means of self-defense. Now, you just confiscated my only means of self-defense. as evidence from the guy who stole it from me, but also as Exhibit A evidence against me, the legal gun owner, whose house got broken into and whose gun got stolen. So now this gun sits in an evidence locker. I don't have any kind of protection. So that's the problem, guys. That's where we're going with all this kind of stuff. Hang on, guys. Sitting over running my mouth and they're playing the Star Spangled Banner. I apologize. My apologies to those doing that. I just noticed it. Are they done now? They can do their pledge or something else like that? Which, by the way, guys, the reason why we're out here is we at Legally Armed America are actually sponsoring the Star Spangled Banner, the national anthem, and the actual American flag out here is being sponsored by Legally Armed America. So kind of cool that we're a part of this whole thing out here. Very proud of it. So anyway, guys, that's the whole deal with this Oregon stuff. I mean, it's a direct infringement. These guys know that it's an unconstitutional law that they're trying to pass, but they're pushing it anyway. I have a real problem with laws that penalize the gun owner, but don't put any more stiff penalties on the actual thief, the actual criminal. Criminals seem to be getting protected a whole lot in this country. There's a lot of people really looking out for these criminals right now, and I don't understand it. You know, those of us that follow the law seem to have to walk a lot tighter line than those that don't walk any kind of a line whatsoever. You know, and again, these bills they're designed to try to scare us. They're not designed for any other reason. Let's see. I think that's all that I had on that. But yeah, that's a bill that really bothers me, guys. I think that's something that, thanks, Chad. That's something that is certainly an issue that's going to become, you're going to see it more and more widespread, because a lot of these states, these liberal states, obviously, they'll be the first ones that'll try to push these things through. And again, we'll see them start popping up. We saw one pop up in Louisiana this year. Not necessarily like this, but a red flag gun law. It got shot down pretty quick. But the scary part is, again, they're going to chip away at the shock part of it in the state of Louisiana. They're going to introduce these bills in the state of Louisiana. This same guy, Gary Clark, down in New Orleans, which is a dump. New Orleans and Louisiana is dump. If you think of Louisiana as New Orleans, then that's not accurate. Louisiana is a beautiful state. It's a nice state. New Orleans is a dump. It smells like vomit and piss everywhere in that whole city. And that's where Gary Clark is, down in that New Orleans area, the vomit and piss city. And he's the one that's trying to introduce these anti-gun red flag gun laws. And he's going to push them through again next year. Next May of 2020, we're going to see Gary Clark from the piss and vomit city of New Orleans try to push these exact same bills through again. And I mean, it's going to reach at a certain point where some of these people will just throw their arms up and say, I will vote for it. What harm can it do? So I mean, that's what we worry about. That's why these local elections are so important, guys. I mean, sometimes we look at these federal elections and realize, that's just, it's a federal level. We do have states' rights, and we do have the ability to push some of these federal laws off if we have the right local laws at the state and local level. And I don't think we can turn our back on these state and local elections anymore. I mean, some people really don't take them serious. I see in my own community down here in Southwest Louisiana, I see a lot of times whenever these when these elections take place, I look at these bills and the voter count, and nobody's voting for them. I mean, we have, I don't know, in this area down here in Southwest Louisiana, probably 300,000-400,000 people live down here. There will be like a tax or something like that, or some law that gets bill that gets voted on locally at the ballot booth, and it's usually like 5,000 people. We're lucky if there's 10,000 people that vote for some of these elections. Granted, for our bigger elections, of course, the higher profile elections like president and federal congressmen, senators, and all that, yeah, of course there's higher numbers. But those local representatives, they matter. All these guys that end up in Washington, D.C., they all originate in these small little local communities like this. So they start somewhere. And unfortunately, if we allow them to get where they're at, they're going to wind up at that federal level. So if we can get them out and keep them voted out and not allow them to get their foot in the door at that local and state level, that's extremely important. So we're going to be getting close to elections in the next few months. So I just want to make sure that we point out that we definitely have some responsibility to make sure that we keep some of these fools out of there. And one of the things that I would encourage you guys to do is make sure that you ask those hard questions. Make sure that you ask those questions that nobody else wants to ask. Make sure you ask those questions that those guys might not be comfortable to answer. Send them an email, demand it. Don't let them send you, when they send you that form letter that says, thank you for asking me about guns, I support the Second Amendment and reasonable common sense gun laws. Ask them, what do you call common sense gun laws? Can you tell me about a gun law that you would put in that common sense category that you would vote for? And I'll tell you if it's a violation of the Second Amendment. That's what we need to be doing, asking those tough questions. Don't ask them the candy-coated softball question, hey, do you support the Second Amendment? No politician. There's never been a politician on the face of God's green earth that has ever said, no, I do not support the Second Amendment. They all say they support it, but then they go, but. And that's the problem. It's the buts. The buts is what kills us. The buts is what hurts the Second Amendment. So guys, that's pretty much where I'm at. It's almost 7:30 now. I'm going to try to read some of y'all's comments if I can. I'm not sure if I can because I don't have my computer out here. Let me see if I can log on here, and I'm not sure if I can get into my live feed while you guys are actually in it, or while we're filming it, I should say. I don't know how that's going to work. Let's see here. Yeah, maybe I can. Yes, I think I can. So, okay, yes, I can read y'all's. Wow. Z50 says, I was denied ammo today at Walmart because I don't have the right driver's license. They said I need to bring my birth certificate and a utility bill to buy ammo. Incredible. That is incredible. Wow. Z50 says, I hear ammo sales are down 60% this month in California because they passed that stupid bill over there. But you know what? I'll bet you ammo sales in Nevada are up 60% this month, or probably more than that. Well, probably more than that because California's way more populated than Nevada. It's probably up 150%. Yeah, Ty J says, you have to remember Trump is not a gun guy. He thinks suppressors work how they do in Hollywood movies. I've always said, I've had people tell me that because I won't come out and just outwardly bash Trump, that I'm a Trump supporter. And I've said many, many times that Trump is not pro-Second Amendment. Trump doesn't understand what being truly pro-Second Amendment is. He thinks it's cool to say he's pro-Second Amendment, but if you were to ask him what does that mean, he really can't tell you. Not because he's stupid, not because he's a plant, not because of any conspiracy, but it's because he's not in the, quote, gun community. He's never been in the gun community. He didn't grow up in the gun community like we did. Those are just things that he's not been a part of. You know, it's a culture that we all have been a part of, and he's simply not. Let's see. I'm just trying to find some of y'all's comments, guys. I think this next band's about to crank up, and it's probably going to get really loud, because as I've noticed that as the day goes on and the bigger bands come out here, they get louder and louder and louder. But what I'm going to do here in a second, I'll do, guys, let me pass the angle that I'm about to give you on the video. let you take a with me. I'll show you around here. How about that? Let's take a little walk. We haven't done that before ever on here, so, and it's pretty cool. All the stuff over here. I think I rode in a air balloon at 500 and something feet this morning. That was kind of cool. Thinking, let me put this down for a second, guys. Not in some water. So I don't think the balloons are actually here right now, but they will be here in a little while. All right, let me stand up here without knocking everything down. All right, here we go. This is the Balloon Festival. Let's see, let me show you guys. That's the stage. Here, you can see the stage. A lot of people. Main stage is Bang, and Deep South Productions is who put that on. And we'll go over here. Oops, make you guys throw up. Sorry. Try not to hide the camera here. You'll see this is kind of the center area right here where everybody goes. So you can see how many people are here. This thing goes way over here. You can see all the little rides and stuff like that over here. I'll try to keep this where y'all can see it. And there we go. You can see the rides over there. Everybody out there. That's just to give you an orientation of the stage again. Back go this way. And then, yeah, all the stuff around here you can stop. So, go ahead. You walk out here. And this is kind of cool. Again, like I said, so I guess proof that I can actually go on Friday night without having to drink. But yeah, this is jumps over here for the kids. That's kind of cool. There's all the VIP tables and install